Y'all, apologies in advance for the delay on this video, but I have been fighting tooth and nail with people in the TikTok threads and Instagram streets about my take on this most recent set of episodes of Married at First Sight. So I'm just going to give you guys a warning here right now. Be disrespectful in these comments. I will block you immediately. You're never going to make me believe that it's okay for any man in conversation with a woman to do all this. I'm gonna just set that right here. But there's a lot that happened in these last episodes. Let's get into it. Y'all, welcome back. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Happy Monday to all. And I hope you're ready to get into these most recent set of episodes. I believe this was Married at First Sight, season 20, episodes 16 through 19. And we have to talk about it because Audacity was 90% off. And I fear all of the men were operating in some level of audacity this episode. But yes, also, as far as that disclaimer, y'all know where I stand with these heifers, especially Caitlin, right? I feel like she was Courtney Jr. I feel like she was horrible, no good, very bad. Don't like her at all. But what I did not like either, and it was disrespectful as hell. You flirting with Mecca, taking his chain, telling Devon to shut the F up, all of that, she did it. And she was wrong as hell. But I think Devon needs to deal with that. Whatever that is, and you at your wit's end, you mad. There's no justifying it for me. People were in the comments saying she deserved it. He did nothing wrong. It was totally fine. And I don't know what relationships y'all are used to being in. I don't like a man to even raise his voice at me. And that's not based on any trauma. I've never had any man that I've been in relationship with approach me in that manner. Not to call me out my name, not to cuss me, not to yell at me. I'm just saying, respect is just a minimum, right? And I done dealt with some of them ones, but never that. Y'all are never going to convince me that it's okay. But speaking of them, let's go ahead and start with Devon and Caitlin because it did immediately, very quickly go off of the rails. And they go to the retreat. These episodes were at the retreat house where all the couples get together and to commiserate and share their experiences and all of those things. And she was like, hey, I'm ready for that intimacy. That's how it starts out. And I think the cabin this weekend is going to be the perfect time, the retreat to get that in. So I'm going to pat him on the back and that's going to be his cue. He's going to know that I want him to take me down in that bedroom. Now, nobody gets that, girl. Nobody gets that. They play some games that immediately we know where this is going. Who's ready to leave the marriage? Caitlin. And she's living her best life. Devon said, I don't like games that stir the pot. Really, I don't like that. I'm still trying to make this work. Still trying to do all of the things. We have a group dinner where basically Mecca and Belle Jolie are asked the question, if you could swap with any of the couples here, who you taking? He says, or Tori. Immediately likes that because after the dinner, she's like, Mecca, come talk to me outside. Mind you, Belle Jolie is in the house, Devon's in the house, Adam's in the house right next to Devon, and they're basically watching Mecca and Caitlin flirt for God knows how long out there. Mecca's kissing her hand, Mecca is putting his bootleg chain on her. I appreciate you so much because she's on his side. Because when Belle Jolie was confiding in the girls about what Mecca said, was laughing the loudest. You hear me? So again, can't stand us, never have. But after that, we go inside. At this point, the flirting gets worse throughout the night. They're really up under each other, Caitlin and Mecca. And so finally, Devon just comes to his breaking point. He's like, this is disrespectful as hell. I don't like this. Mind you, they had just had a fight the night before about disrespect and her cutting him off and how she gets. And he said that's his deal breaker. That's his firm cut off. He can't deal with it. And so they're sitting there. They're heated. They're getting into conversation. Mecca's just sitting there. Belle is acting like she's oblivious to everything that's going on. And she tells Devon to shut the F up. And why did she tell Devon to shut the F up? Because immediately it was like, let me get up out my seat and get in your face and do all of this. Belle had to put her hand, not speaking hyperbole. Let me put my hand on your back. Devon kind of chilled out, but immediately he knew that this was over. And if somebody, it makes you, or if you decide to act that way to someone or in response to someone's actions, you don't need to be with that person. If it's going to take you all the way over there, baby, you don't need to be over there at all. What I want for Devon is the best. I still like Devon, but I didn't like that. and I can't stand Caitlin, and I never will. They decide that they're going to call it quits. She tries to get in her feelings. This is what I was avoiding, and you're trying to do all. Girl, you never liked this man. You never gave this man a fair chance, a fair shot. The only note I have is that I really wish he would have left last week in the last set of episodes at some point. I don't think Caitlin was worth investing this much more time in, because I don't think it was ever going to get better. And I hate that's the last impression that I have of him. Again, so, like I said, a lot of people don't feel like that was anything, that she was fully deserving of all of that. And again, Caitlin's terrible. I don't think any man should speak to any woman like that. I just don't. It's just not how I was raised. Adam and Marissa, boring as hell. Again, Adam came here with full intent to be a demon during this retreat, but Sean, I feel like, immediately went in and apologized. That let Adam's guard down, so he decided he was going to have a good time. But again, Marissa and Adam are just spectators in this process to everyone else's process. I don't really see what they're bringing. Again, there's nothing below the surface with these two, for me at least, where I think they're going to go. I've said it once, I said it before. If you're willing to bend and acquiesce and play pickleball 5 times a week, girly girl, go over there with him. He's fine if you don't argue, I'm sure. By the end of it, he's like, I'm sad. He's packing her back because the next set of episodes will be decision day. And he's like, you sad, you leaving and whatever. And I just don't believe him. At one point, we come into conversation around, meeting his family or all that. And he said, I think that was even last week's episode, where he says, you meet my sister. She didn't know. We ain't seen no meeting of any sister in these sets of episodes. So again, I don't know. I really don't know why they're here other than to stir the pot. But anyway, speaking of stirring the pot, let's get over here to Cameron and Michelle, because Michelle was in my comments on TikTok talking about, I need to look at Belle Jolie's post. I don't need to look at Belle Jolie's post for a damn thing. I don't care. It felt like you and Cam derived joy from picking apart these other couples. Are the other couples in precarious situations? Absolutely. But the amount of joy I feel like y'all had in ripping them apart and resting in we're the best couple ever. I think it's easy to be the best couple ever when you're not going to rock the boat, because you want that man. Listen, you want that clear man, and Michelle, and that's fine. And you're not going to do anything to disrupt or break the mask or facade or any of that, girl, and that's fine. But the joy that y'all had in picking apart the other couples, I did not like. Y'all were actually the one couple I felt like was going to work. But honestly, I still feel like he has his track shoes on. I feel like he is older, and so he's a bit more mature in the way that he presents, especially in the group. You're steady saying you feel like he's your person, and he's steady saying he got cold feet. I don't know about giving up my freedom. And I'm like, what is this perceived freedom? You've never been in a relationship. It seems that she only wants to add to your life for what it's worth. And I feel like he's got his track shoes on. That would be where I'd be focusing my energy on. I'd be focusing my energy on why I'm so quick to let go of my 6-figure standard to be with him. Hey, and that's your choice. But you said very early on in this season, you want a man with 6 figures. That was just going to be what works for you, because you are financially stable and you wanted that in return. But now when it comes down to it, it's not that. And again, I wonder, does this relationship only work because you are so docile in it? I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think of Michelle and Cam. Are they going to make it? Again, this was my only one that I was like, oh, they're going to make it to the end. He rated her baking, I think, a 5. I don't know. Later, we do see Michelle get very vocal as it relates to Mecca. And I believe Belle Jolie needed to know. I don't care who the messenger was. It was the joy I feel like she got from disseminating the information around Mecca and Belle Jolie. And speaking of Mecca, Belle Jolie, let's just go over there so I can explain the whole situation that happened with them. So we know that off the cusp of last week's episodes, he had basically said, is she pretty enough for me? Nah. And so Belle Jolie's still reeling off of that. And immediately as these episodes start, she's confronting him about what he said. And in that moment, Mecca's like, I ain't say that. Mecca, you said it. Baby, you said it. You said it live and in Technicolor, sir. And so he's trying to deny it. And then he says, you know what, that was really mean and awful. And if I said that, I apologize profusely, because I really feel like you're that one. You're my girl. Get to the retreat and the fellas are having conversations, and Adam's, is Mecca your dream, or excuse me, is Belle Jolie your dream girl, Mecca? And Mecca's like, hell no, she's not. No. And Adam's like, why? I don't understand. She's just not it. I like them thicker. And they're like, well, Belle Jolie can gain a little bit of weight if that, no, not up here. Adam says, well, she could get a boob job. Listen, I don't know if she's up to that. Cam's like, why are you here? Why are you doing this if she's not your dream girl? So you mean to tell me Michelle is your dream girl? Cam's like, she's everything that I would have ever wanted in a potential wife. That makes her my dream girl. Mecca's like, her up top, it's just not there. But I can say personality wise, she is my dream girl, but I wasn't attracted to her. She's not my dream girl. She's not. And I'm like, at what point do you say, I'm not going to talk about my wife, even though this is an experiment, right? I'm not going to talk about my wife's anatomy in front of all of these men. I'm not going to disparage her any further. I already embarrassed her last week. I've already apologized for that. Why would I put myself in this position again to have conversation around my wife's anatomy with these other men? The disrespect is beyond. And so, of course, Michelle finds this tea out and she's like, I need to tell my girl immediately. So she, Nikki, and Michelle get in the room and they're just sharing. And she shares with all the girls. And this is where Caitlin pissed me off because Caitlin's laughing like a hyena when she finds out what Mecca said to Belle Jolie. And the girls are like, nah, sister, you don't deserve that. And she doesn't. Now, is Belle going to get that from anybody else? I don't know. She and Nikki in this moment are commiserating because we find out that's decided, Soap Challenge Duck Dong decided to tell Nikki that in Seattle she's a 10, but she's really a New York 7. You know what I mean? A 7 in New York. And so when Belle hears that, she's immediately pissed. And so we get to this group dinner and asking about the other couples and who needs to be together and all of that. And she's immediately like, yeah, well, I don't think that Nikki needs to be with Sean. And you know how I like Sean, but that's disrespectful as hell. These men are always trying to humble you and do X, Y, or Z. Meanwhile, Mecca's looking like this. And my thing, Belle, baby, save that energy for your man. That should have been a conversation that you were having with him. We hear from her, it was Belle on the outside. Belle wouldn't be going for any of this. Well, why is Belle on the inside going for this? She said, I came into this experiment like this is my husband and I need to act as such. And baby, he's not acting like a husband. And I said this before, and the people were like, what do you mean? I said, she's riding for him 10 toes down, but would he do the same? And he would not ever. We also get into the conversation about the wife swap. She says, like my girl, my girl, because, and I think she picked Tori maybe because of the lips or something like that. And he says, either be Michelle or Caitlin, that would be my choice. And I'm like, you didn't see what Belle tried to do. She didn't want to embarrass you, shame you, make you feel away if she chose another man here in the group. So she chose a woman and you sat here and really talked about that. Mind you, had just told us, listen, I like them thicker up top. And Caitlin nor Michelle are thicker up top. So my thing is, let's be honest. And also another thing, Adam clocked his tea, in my opinion, when he says, oh, you like them white hair, blue-eyed. Is that what you like, Mecca? And Mecca's like, race. I'm not bound by race. I have no constraints or whatever around that. And sir, whatever. Just mean what you say and say what you mean. Belle was never going to be good enough because she is not what you wanted. She's not what you ever had. She's not what you ever needed. And now seeing your ex, he gives Caitlin. Just saying, by the end of all this, he's saying, I need to make this work, Belle. You just give me another chance, to X, Y, or Z. And we're coming up on decision day. And my thing is, Belle, if you got sense, sister, I need you to call, phone a friend, phone your mama violent, do something and break out of this, whatever it is, because he's not it. In my opinion, not for you, sister. I hate it. And I hate that he tries to manipulate you at the end. Right, with that whole, sabotage, I know exactly what you're doing, Mecca. I'm not playing with you no more. I tried to give you grace, but I'm not doing it now. Let's get over here to Philippe and Tori, because at this point, Philippe won the award for the worst husband ever. He's won all of the awards. Who's not ready for this process? Who doesn't need to be here? Who likely to cheat? All of the things he won. And Tori's sitting there getting extremely emotional because what the hell is going on? Like, who am I with? And my thing is, Tori, you knew, because we get into a conversation and she's really distraught about everything that happened in the game nights and, all questioning around him and who he is and what his character is. And so she's like crying and he comes to check on her and he's like, why does it matter what everyone else thinks? What is it that you think? And I think you're trash. Like, we're having a conversation and she's like, if you don't get it, I don't have time to break this down and explain it to you, but everything that you seem so proud of are the things that will make this relationship fail. And she's like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And so, in effect, breaks up with him. He goes downstairs talking about how he needs grace and he's that. Mind you, this is the same man who wants to get with all the other coochies of the world. Okay. And she breaks it off. The next day, it's kind of they have an outing together and she's willing to give it another try. And my thing is, why? He's not grown. He's not shown you anything. He was down there basically saying, well, if she doesn't want me, why should I want her? I think this is a disaster. Towards the end of the episodes, we get to a point where they're readying for decision day and they're out there. And she's like, well, what about that thing that you told me on the phone? I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can deal with you. And my thing is, people are saying he wants to have an open relationship, like be a swinger. And I'm thinking he cheated. He went out and bought some cooter. He did something of the sort. And my thing is, Tori, you should have left when you were at the retreat. You already had your mind made up. You had already cried your last tear yesterday. I think you should have just let it go in that moment. But that's just my opinion. Now, let's get on over here to Nikki and Sean. So she has his mom's birthday, so he doesn't get to stay at the retreat long. Again, he does apologize to Adam for kind of the remarks that he made about, intelligence. And so Nikki is basically kind of about everything. She really misses him. They're texting while he's gone and all of the things. But as she's talking to Belle and hearing about Mecca, she thinks about how often he takes digs. And my thing with Sean is, at every chance he gets, in some way, he tries to diminish Nikki, in my opinion, outside of everything else. But the 10 in New York 7 is crazy. But also, if we remember, he tried to downplay her home. She's bougie, but she doesn't know. Nikki makes macaroni and cheese. Yeah, it was like everything it's like, let me make it smaller. So maybe it's humbling her. I don't know. So maybe I can feel like I'm on the same level. I don't understand his purpose with that, but she seemingly missed him. He said he missed her. They get back together and they kind of share a moment in a conversation around that, how like that was a dig that you took at me. And he says, well, you played with my stomach fat. And then that's why I said that. And she's like, well, I don't remember that. He's like, yeah, you wouldn't remember that. But, I apologize if I did that. And then he's asking her a question about, how things are going. She tries to respond and he's like, yeah, I'm not trying to hear all that story. And just very dismissive. And she's like, I didn't want to feel like this leaving the experiment or leaving the house for decision day the next day. And my thing, he isn't giving it damn seriously, because why ask me a question and you won't let me or give me the space to respond? I told you this was never it for me. Now, what she chooses, I don't know. The people, because they're so active on social media, a lot of people have a lot of feelings and think they know what's going to happen, but I have no idea. But y'all, that's what I got for Married at First Sight, season 20, episodes 16 through 19. Drop it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on Devon. Let me know your thoughts on Michelle and Cam. What do you think of these couples? Does anyone say yes on decision day when we watch it on Thursday? Let me know. And thank you guys for being here. If you're still here, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of the things. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.